Welcome to noise11.com. David Draiman. A new Disturbed album is always exciting. Welcome to, let's talk about the new music, hey, David?
Sure.
Yeah. One of the songs, Hey You. Now, we had a sneak preview of that one a couple of months back. You've already had the chance to perform that one live.
We had the chance to perform that one live. We've had the chance to perform Unstoppable live. That's also been released from the record. And they've been a hell of a lot of fun to play. It's been, they're challenging, but they are fun. So,
yeah. Sliding a new song into a set list for the very first time. Describe that feeling for me. I mean, are you nervous giving the audience something live that they hadn't heard before?
Yep. Very much so. You know, it's a lot of the set are, you know, our old catalog singles that have been a part of the set for a long time. And there's a bunch of stuff we change up periodically, but for the most part, it's a set full of singles and it's hard to leave any out. And so a lot of them end up becoming just, you know, stuck in your head or things that are like just getting back on the bicycle. You put something else in the equation and you have to start thinking about parts, and it's not just, you know, reflex memories, so to speak. It does change things up a bit, and it does make you a little bit anxious.
So when we get to the Divisive album, now let's sort of work the timeline on that. The previous album was about 4 or 5 years ago. We had COVID hit. This is obviously very influenced by the reaction to the world to COVID in that time. Did you basically have to flush out a whole lot of songs that you were working on pre-COVID, or is this purely a pandemic album and thoughts from beyond?
Well, we had about what ended up being like 4 or 5 ideas that ended up just getting shelved. That had been in our back pocket, so to speak, prior to really restarting the creative process once the light at the end of the tunnel was becoming somewhat visible. So it was just incredible that when we finally did have the opportunity to get in front of one another and start creating the way that we prefer to create, how quickly things came together and how much magic was being created on a daily basis. It was pretty amazing. Yeah, one of the more enjoyable recording experiences that I've had in recent memory.
So if you've given the green light to the end of the tunnel and then it gets shelved, does that potentially become ideas for later on?
I don't know. We have another, you know, like 7 ideas in the pipeline, ideas that Danny and Drew cooked up that I still have to try and write something to, and the rest of the guys have yet to, you know, add their pieces on as well. So who knows? You know, sometimes they end up getting saved for another day. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes Danny will pull out that same idea like 5 years later and pretend like you've never heard it before. He's got a, you know, a habit of doing that, or a method, not a habit, I should say. So you never know. But I think that with as strong as things got, it was undeniable that we had to keep the newer material.
The word divisive is not something that is new to America because of the pandemic. America has been divisive for quite some time. Is that wrapped up in the message of the album as well?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could say that was exclusively an American problem. It's kind of a global phenomenon at this point. You know, there are people in their respective positions of power all over the planet who are utilizing their positions to continue to sow division for their benefit. That's clear. Everybody's seeing it happen in real time, so I think that technology, the internet, social media, and having nothing to do but sit on social media for 2.5 years while you're, being terrorized by a virus, it exacerbated everything. It gave it a big old steroid injection. And yeah, I mean, I've said it in other interviews, and I'll say it again. I've never seen it so bad. The state to which we've gotten.
You then get to editorialize that in a 4-minute song. Is it difficult to get that message together like that?
I wouldn't be so, the songs just have to come from a real place. You know what I mean? They have to come from subject matter that we feel passionately about one way or the other. And so it's not meant to be anything other than a critique. There's no magical code to it, in order to get people to stop this behavior, unfortunately, even if they do recognize it and they can commiserate with it and they can relate to it. I think a lot of people can, but yeah, I wish it were as easy as writing the right piece of music and making people all of a sudden be like, oh, I have to stop attacking everybody around me all the time and look for something better to do with my time.
Well, I guess social commentary is one part of the album. There's also a personal aspect to it as well.
There is.
In particularly, Don't Tell Me, dealing with the divorce of a band member, I guess in a very public way when you sing that song and tell that story.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's going to be able to relate to that song in their own respective way, because we've all kind of been in similar situations, even if it wasn't that scenario you just described specifically. But we've all been in relationships, or I should say many of us have been in relationships where you knew that it should end but didn't want it to end. We're still very, very attached. I think that's a very common human condition with people, and I think that's part of the reason why it resonates so. And it takes tremendous courage for people to lay their personal experiences on the line on behalf of their art. And it's just, my guys definitely have been through the ringer. and the music is meant to be therapeutic, and it's the best therapy in existence.
Well, bringing somebody like Ann Wilson in, that's very therapeutic for me. What a voice. Isn't she wonderful?
Yeah, definitely a bucket list, pinch me moment, whatever you want to call it. Very, very surreal, very humbled, and just overwhelmed to have her a part of it. It's a beautiful song. I love how our voices sound together. It's one of our favorite songs we've ever written, personally, and to have her a part of it just makes it that much more special. So it's well exceeded my expectations, and it hasn't done anything yet. So I'm already thrilled with it.
I would imagine that somewhere down the line, when either you're on tour or Heart's on tour, Anne's on tour, and you're in the same town together,
oh, God,
will there be the opportunity for that to be performed live?
I sure as hell hope so. I think the song's going to be big, and I think that it would be a shame if we didn't get the opportunity to do that at least a few times, to perform it together live. And hell, on a selfish level, I want to sing it with her live. So we'll see.
It's one of those moments that you just stop and listen when you're listening to the album in context, and there it is, pretty much like how The Sound of Silence was. It just stops people in their tracks.
Yeah, we really we really struck a nerve with that one from a melodic perspective, from a thematic perspective. It really resonates with people, and it resonates with us. So we'll see what happens. Yeah.
I think over the course of the last couple of years, we may have missed a 20th anniversary for Disturbed.
Yeah, that had to get shelved. Also a victim of COVID. You know, originally we were trying to get it done, but it was just too much of a risk. The restrictions on a state-by-state basis and the regulations were so different, and it was impossible to get standardized. So insurance companies didn't want to cover you. I mean, it was a scene. So we figured for everybody's best interest, we better just shelve the idea, and maybe we would wait till the 25th anniversary, do it then.
When you get on the road, well, there's two exciting things when you've been coming to Australia. One is we get to see you live. Two is we get to talk to Dougie Thompson when he's down here as well. Is he still working?
Yeah, Doogie. Yeah. Oh, he's awesome. He's still doing great. You know, still Doogie. We still see him every once in a while. He's one of the best people I've ever known. Just a sweetheart of a guy.
Having somebody from Supertramp working with you on tour, just behind the scenes, that in itself, you're talking about Ann Wilson being, you know, one of those benchmarks.
Oh yeah, no, it's always been surreal with him.
Yeah,
you know, especially when you can look at some of his little video clips of his old school performances online, and once you finally put two and two together, this is really that guy. It's definitely a bit of a reality check. It's cool.
Yeah. With this album, when you went in, now, you know, like you've been known to do many covers over the years, you know, with Sound of Silence, Tears for Fears, Land of Confusion, Genesis. Was there any consideration for a cover for this record?
We weren't even thinking about it. We're having so much fun with the original stuff that we just kind of like left it alone. And then here we were at the end of the record, and we had the material, and we were like, you know, let's just leave it off this record. We do them for fun, you know, and for this particular record, it's just we were having so much fun with the original stuff that we didn't need to right now. We'll pick up the habit again in the future.
Yeah. Well, you know, 20 years down the track, it's been an incredible journey, hasn't it? Do you think back to that day where you went into audition for this band?
Many times. And it almost didn't happen. You know, I was very intimidated by what they had going on. I didn't think I could sing to it. I thought they were too heavy for me. Yeah, I was not going to go back. It was my my ex-roommate, may he rest in peace, who really pushed me and convinced me. It's like, dude, if you don't go back, you're an idiot. What you guys did today was amazing, and I guarantee you see this through, you guys are going to get signed. And sure enough.
Well, Divisive is the new album. Hopefully 2023 we do see you back down here.
It would be nice. You know, I miss Australia. I love it down there. It's always beautiful. People are extra sweet, and yeah, I know that the missus has been bugging me for years that eventually when we retire, we got to move to Melbourne. She keeps saying it. So we'll see.
When you're here, we do dinner.
There you go.
All right. David, great to talk to you.
Appreciate it, brother.